This year, at the start of the school year, it was a very challenging experience for me.
It's a roller coaster.
I was a little bit nervous in the beginning.
Usually schools have a lot of PD at the beginning of the year, and they're all really motivational, and this is what it's going to look like.
I felt like the kids were misbehaving a lot.
You think that you're going to have the most wonderfully run classroom just by putting up some pictures.
And I felt like I wasn't doing a good job at managing my class behaviorally.
And then it kind of goes down a little bit at the end of September when you realize that maybe this classroom management technique doesn't quite work, right?
My new teacher developer, I felt like she was a huge part of my development here and making sure that I was able to eventually succeed.
It's my NTD. That's who represents the program to me. And I've had a very positive experience with it.
She mentioned how my classroom was very large for my small group of students.
Through the course of the year, she became like one of my friends. She could come in and I could sit down, and if I was having a bad day, she knew it right away.
Got advice from a new teacher developer, and I changed my classroom around to centers where I had students rotating from station to station.
I had sort of life happen, and I had a really, really hard time where I actually had to be away from school for several weeks. I had to fly back home.
The last probably 3 weeks that she came in, we looked at what worked for me this year and what didn't work.
So it was devastating to miss such a large amount of time, especially at the beginning of the year, which is so crucial.
And so when my students would lose focus and seemed unsettled,
my NTD was the first one to offer support and get an email and was, how are you doing? Is everything okay?
she advised me to huddle them up and bring them to the half moon table and continue the lesson that way.
She did a map for how I should set up my room next year.
I began to manage my class and really felt like I was teaching my students and my students were learning.
Even at the very end, right? My NTD had asked me, how are things doing with your family? So the fact that she even remembered that I had this experience and checking in was something that was very valuable. I really appreciated the New Teacher Institute because I felt like, I was in a room full of all new teachers to, not only new teachers in general, but new teachers to BPS. Another thing about the New Teacher Institute that really stuck with me was they had new teachers from the previous year come and speak to us. Then they talked about what were the things that went successful and what were the things that they struggled with.
My new teacher developer had me attend a cross-site visit as a professional development. I got to also look at a teacher that had been teaching for 3 years who had my same new teacher developer when he first started.
I know that coming in August, I'll be able to kind of just push everything around, and I know where it's going to go. I know what I need to do.
When I found that I could start joking around in the classroom with the students, that's when it really did even out. And then you kind of end the year at this little bump.
She's told me that I can still keep her on speed dial and make sure that I email her if I need anything, and she's willing to work with me, so I think I'll be okay.